All right, and we're live. So we got Tresan Gore, who I became a bit of a fan of with The Ultimate Fighter. I went back and forth of sort of liking him and not liking him, and then he did this like impressive speech about how he fights for his mom, who just had her leg amputated from some bad diabetes and stuff, and how she's his inspiration and he fights to get her the best care possible. And I was like, all right, I'll be a fan of you. I can't help myself. So we got him versus what's the other guy's name again? I just lost it. Tresan Gore, and it's in the title of the damn video. Tresan Gore, Josh Fremd, Fremd. And Tresan Gore is your standard, like, likes to throw heavy punches and brawl kind of guy, and just kind of let the fight all hang out there. And, he is a heavy handed puncher, and it should be interesting to see what he's able to come up with um, in this fight. He had a famous fight with Brian Battle in The Ultimate Fighter. And then it looks like this guy, Josh Fremund, they're just playing some clips of his career. He had fought in other organizations besides the UFC, and it looks like he's got some good jiu-jitsu skills. He has a rear naked choke victory here that looked pretty pristine. So it should be an interesting matchup. Um, just still recovering from that last UFC with Islam Makhachev versus Charles Oliveira. I thought Charles Oliveira would have done better in that fight, but man, it really showed how incredibly skilled Islam Makhachev is, and how he almost made it look easy. And it sort of looked like if you ran that fight back 50 times, Islam wins virtually every single one of them. So that's a rough night for Charles Oliveira. But the um, unification where you got Islam versus Alex Volkanovski, that is a hell of a fight. Volkanovski is looking unstoppable as of lately, and has a lot of experience being champion. And Islam Magachev also looks unstoppable himself. We also got the Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva fight coming up, and that should be interesting. I'm debating commentating that. Um, so yeah, let me know, all zero viewers, if you guys want to see that at all. They're just playing the commercial, and soon Tresan Gore and the other guy, Josh Fremd, 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 will be fighting. And you know what? I hope Tresan Gore wins so that he could help take care of his mom more. All right, we got one viewer. Woohoo! Viewer, throw something in the chat. Make sure you know that two viewers. Unbelievable. We got Tresan Gore versus Josh Femund. Femund. Femd. Fremd. Figure that one out. Coming up next year on the UFC. I wonder who's going to win tonight with Jake Paul and Anderson Silva. in a way, it's almost sad that, like, if we see Anderson Silva get knocked out, like, it's going to hurt my heart a little bit. All right. Maybe I started this live stream a little bit too early because we are still waiting for them to walk out. Oh, looks like they already walked out. They just went straight from commercial right to them being in the ring. They're both 28 years old. Wow, Josh Fremd is 6'4", and Tresan Gore is 6 feet tall, both weighing in at 185. And Josh Fremd has a 1 inch reach advantage at 76 inches to Tresan's 75. But no walkout, no nothing, just an extended extra long commercial for no reason. And then boom, they're both in the octagon. How peculiar that is. You know, I wouldn't tell Tresan Gore this to his face, but he looks a bit like a simpleton. And like that he was only made to do this, and I sort of like that about him as an almost redeeming quality, that he's where he should be, you know. But that might be bad or offensive to say. All right. The referee says fight, and we are here in the first round. Josh Fremd establishing a jab early in the southpaw stance here. Tresan Gore goes for a double leg takedown. Josh Fremd with a guillotine. Tresan Gore looking to pass to the opposite side of the guillotine, which is the side that helps defend the guillotine. Good stuff there. Guillotine defense is so important in MMA. Any MMA fighter that I have trained before, I always make sure that they have immaculate guillotine defense and that they have the guillotine as a tool in their arsenal. Because here you see Tresan Gore on a guillotine now. Oftentimes, when people stand up, they need to build a house. They need to put their hands and feet on the floor, which leaves their neck open and available for a guillotine. Tresan Gore here, still working on this front headlock guillotine series, and Fremd escapes. But you looked like he was about to be in trouble there for a second. Tresan Gore has Josh pushed up against the fence here, deep and high underhook. The underhook is really the key in being able to keep them pinned to the fence. Tresan pummels now an underhook on the other side. Double underhooks here. Good maneuvers when you connect your hands. Up there, Tresan Gore goes. He connects his hands behind the back. You have a lot of takedowns that you could do from that place, and you have the inside position, so you go on takedowns, just like how Tresan Gore did right there. Drops down to a double leg, huge double leg, lifts Fremd high up into the air, and then now takes his back. Huge slamming double leg, and beautiful back take there from Tresan Gore. Excellent stuff, proving that he's not just a power puncher, but that he also has legitimate skills here. And he's crossing the feet on the back, which generally is frowned upon, but the way of the nature of the position where Tresan Gore's on the bottom and Josh is on top of him, even though Tresan Gore has his back. That is the only scenario where it's okay to really cross your feet. They scramble out here, and Josh Fremd escapes, and now they're back to their feet. 2 minutes 15 seconds in this first round. Tresan Gore now trying to establish his jab as the momentum of the fight has sort of shifted in his direction from that big takedown and back take. And you could see Josh Fremd is a little bit more tentative, a little bit more scared of the proven threat that Tresan has proved himself to be. And you see Tresan sort of relaxing and kind of settling into the fight here as Fremd seems a little bit more nervous and apprehensive. But Fremd going back to what will probably win him this fight if he does win, which I doubt, which is his length and his reach and keeping a really good hold on the distance, controlling the space, and kind of picking his shots to be able to pick apart Tresan Gore slowly. Josh Fremd gets Tresan Gore against the fence and holds him there for a little while. But Tresan Gore switched around the underhook and was able to pin him to the fence, and then it switches around yet again. So right now, Josh Fremd is the one against the fence. Tresan Gore is the one pushing him against the fence. And they break away from the clinch, and they're back in the center of the octagon. You know, a big part of the clinch work now in MMA is elbows off the clinch. It's a major part of MMA these days. Fremd with a nice flying knee here, and then a punch to Tresan's face, and time. Interesting first round. I guess you got to give it to Tresan Gore on that one from that huge takedown. Lots of amplitude and interesting stuff here. All right, we got round 2 coming up real soon here. I'm trying to look up what time the Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva fight is. That should be an interesting one for boxing. They wagered a bet where I'll tell you about it in a second. We're back here to the UFC where round 2 is just beginning. Josh Fremd with those jabs and that front kick are a great strategy in this fight, and he's utilizing them well against Tresan Gore. He's sort of woken up here in the second round and is being more aggressive with his shots. But Tresan really has an ability to hit hard, and you can see that his shots are more meaningful, even though Josh Fremd is still able to get more off with his superior range. I know a deep guillotine here for Tresan Gore, and this is really deep. This might be finished right here. This fight might be over. It's over. He's unconscious. Holy shit. What a ridiculous, wild guillotine. In all my years of seeing guillotines, I've never seen one that looked like that before. Josh Fremd tried to jump off the cage to defend the guillotine, and then he landed at this weird angle, and he got choked unconscious right there in the center of the octagon. What a wild guillotine. I can't wait for the replay. It looked really deep here. like I was saying earlier, that guillotine is so important. So Fremd goes in for the single leg take, run the pipe on the single leg, and Tresan Gore locks in a nice tight guillotine, and Fremd is not framing against the hips properly here. Tries to do a flip off the wall, and then ends up in a supine position here. And Tresan is able to finish it from like a side control type position, and he chokes him unconscious viciously, violently, and ruthlessly. Wow. So a couple things there. One is when you're doing a single leg, and again, this is easy for me because I'm on the couch. I'm not in there actually fighting. But when you're doing a single leg and you run the pipe, most people try to push into the hip to get the hip and knee to bend down while you have the single leg. I don't know how to describe it with my hands, but they incorrectly try to use the shoulder to press the hip down when they're doing the single leg. But actually, the single leg is a pull type motion where you want to pull their leg down and cut your angle out to the side and have them like fall into the space that you make while you cut that angle. And while it does put pressure on the hip and knee, it's not just a straight up like push into them, and the motion's more of like a pull and a twist. And that was a mistake that Fremd was making on that takedown. And also, as I said, having that immaculate guillotine offense and defense is so important in MMA, as it's a constant conversation had on almost every takedown. And when you're looking to get back up to your feet, which is what people are generally doing in MMA, the guillotine a lot of times shows itself as being available, especially when you have to put your hands and feet on the ground to be able to build yourself back up to that standing position. And another part is the guillotine is a twofold attack. One, it is your hands when you lock your hands together, but what finishes the guillotine is the power of the hips and your ability to trap them with your hips and really incorporate your hips into the move. So, what Josh should have done was he should have framed on Tresan's hips instead of going to that wild spinning motion that he did. And then he would have been able to take away the power of Tresan's guillotine and make it so that he couldn't strangle him unconscious, and then work his escape of being able to turn his head out from there. If you want, I have a instructional called Law Enforcement Grappling Solutions. I go over this in extreme detail about how to escape from any guillotine hold. And also, if you want on YouTube, if you type in Braulio, Braulio space Estima guillotine escape, he shows the exact guillotine escape that I'm talking about, that he showed GSP. And it's a really essential guillotine escape to have in your arsenal. And it's probably the best guillotine escape that I've ever seen, where you frame your hips and you're able to turn your head out. And that would have been perfect in this situation, instead of this crazy flip around that Fremd tried to do. Anyway, I will be back for the co-main and the main event. I wish you guys all the best. Much love. And let me know, guys, if I should do commentary for the Jake Paul Anderson Silva fight as well. Thank you all so much, and have a great rest of your night.